My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured. Thanks to you. We're gonna have safe cities, finally, safe cities. Secure borders, sensible spending, basic stuff. And we're gonna take overs to Mars. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time? This one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
All right. Hi, guys. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. It's probably been a rough 24 hours for a lot of people's investment portfolios. I played that because I wanted to remind people what we're trying to accomplish here. I think that's super important to think about. I think that safe city should be a normal thing. I think that putting America first should be a normal thing, especially right now in this time and age where we need it, right? We've already interfered in wars all across the world for many, many years, whether it's Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, everything, right? Everything, just endless wars, endless trillions of dollars being spent on all of it. And then again, funding with fraud and waste, all kinds of things that I believe are strongly destructive to society as a whole. So that's what we're doing. That's what this election was about. And it might be rocky in the beginning, and there's reasons for that. And to my Canadian friends, I do want to apologize. Again, you might feel some pain in the short term to Canada and Mexico, but there's a reason for it. There's a reason for all of this. I strongly believe that the tariff implementation for the 25% is just to force Canada and Mexico without indirectly saying it, because again, this is about diplomacy and negotiation, and we can't just say, hey, we need you to really penalize China. We need to put the screws on China. We can't do that. That's not something that you can politically make happen, right? You can't say, hey, we're attacking China, because that gets you closer to a world war. And that's the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. And we'll talk about, I've got a lot to talk about today, honestly. But I think that's the main objective. I think the main objective is to put the squeeze on China. We need to put the squeeze on them. We need to make their economy continue to suffer so that we can basically force changes that are going to be really positive for everybody. And we'll talk about those more in a second. But you got to remember, the fentanyl is coming through Mexico mostly, like probably the vast majority, also through Canada, just kind of like the immigration was. But at the same time, we want these guys to play ball, and we want them to apply the same level of tariffs on China to ensure that China isn't trying to dump into these countries in order to be able to get around sanctions and, I shouldn't say sanctions, tariffs and basically negate these and be able to avoid them. So we don't want that, right? And then there's other geopolitical goals that we're trying to accomplish at the same time. So we're applying pressure now so that we can have a better future tomorrow. And I'm willing to have my portfolio take a massive hit. It already has. I'm down probably 50%. I'll try and get the updated numbers here from where I was when I hit 7 million about, 2 months ago? I don't know. But that's what happens when you run asymmetric bets. I can tell you, this isn't the first time I've been down 50% in a year. It's a part of the game. And there's a reason why I have $1 million in TLT right now. I think it's going to weather the storm the best, albeit it is down 0.25% today. And we are seeing the 10-year starting to roll over more too. But I might not even do any buying today. I do have a small amount of cash, only 50 grand, that I might apply. We'll see. Your ass hurts. All right, hippie. I'm rooting for you, brother. But there's going to be pain, and it could get better really quick. There's a lot of good things that I want to talk about. There's a lot of charts that I'll show you that I don't think you've probably seen. But here's what I want to do. Buy more TLT today? Yeah, you could. I might even do that too. That's actually not a bad idea. It's just security, right? But again, it's been brutal. It's been brutal the last really, like, I'd say 48 to 72 hours, because so much hope gets created when you see the crypto markets just boom over the weekend. And then to see them just utterly crash on Monday after the talk of the 25% tariff implementation. But again, we talked about that yesterday. And would it have been smarter for me in hindsight to be a little less lazy and sell out of some MSTX up like 40% or something on the day? Probably. That probably would have been a better choice. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Life goes on. And again, there's a reason why we have hedges. But I want to talk about what the game plan is. Let's talk through it. So again, I think that one of the things that we're doing with, you guys have to read The Art of the Deal. I really encourage you to do that. If you want to understand how this president's thinking, it's probably smart to listen or at least read the book that he created that gives you the game plan for what he's doing right now. And one of the things that you do in negotiation is you're very loose and don't necessarily say exactly what you want, but you apply pressure to make sure that you get it. And what ends up happening a lot of the time is in the fumbling around from the other party, trying to figure out what the fuck you want since you've got the more powerful hand. And I'll tell you this, guys, Canada's talking a lot of shit right now, and I love all my Canadian friends. All you Canucks are great. But the GDP is 1/10 the size of the United States. It's just foolish to think that you can go toe to toe with that. It doesn't make any sense. But let's get to it. So I did this post yesterday. I think like 10 people liked it. Let's see. What did we get up to? But it's really important. So I want to talk. Oh, 67. Wow. We really blew up. But I want to talk to this because I think it's really important. It was piggybacking off of Chris Patel's post, which I thought was pretty good. But I said, why not crush the markets now? Again, you've got 2 years until you have a House and Senate race again, right? So why not crush the markets right now? Get the pain out of the way right now. And you do that because you want, when the 2-year election rolls around, and again, Doge is only around for a year and a half, so they're supposed to be done with all their work, right? About 6 months before we get the election for the House and the Senate again, and that will be pivotal. Like if we've done a good job and the economy's turning around and people are think things are going up and they like the fact that their tax bill is lower and maybe they got a $5,000 Doge check, things could look very different a year and a half from now before the next election than they do right now. So again, get the pain out of the way right fucking now. Short-term pain for long-term gains. Yes, sir. So I said, while completing some very required austerity measures like removal of fraud, waste, and perform automation tasks. I should have included more of this. I was just writing this. It's hard sometimes just to like write up your thoughts and put them out there because you review them and you'll be like, oh, that's good. And then you'll be like, oh, God, I totally forgot another really key thing that I wanted to say. But tariffs are a huge part of that. Tariffs will allow a more even playing field on the global stage. And if they don't, they'll increase revenue. We'll talk about some of that too. Because again, if people don't lower their tariffs or VAT, value-added taxes, whatever you want, like Europe's crazy with that. If they don't do that, then it's just more income into the country that can offset the taxes that we have to pay. And it can slow down economic activity. You can't have short bursts of, again, inflation over the short term, especially if you get into things that are like commodities that have to be purchased all the time. You can have some inflation in that, okay? There's ways to, so you get some, it's foolish to say that you won't get some short-term inflation from what's happening with tariffs. But the benefits to it will come quickly, like in months. And that's what I'm talking about here. So, but yeah, let's just keep rocking and rolling. So, but we want to do what Elon Musk was talking about. We want to make our country a country that is safe, secure, has closed borders, has a growing economy, is pro-growth, low taxation, all the things, and again, just a balanced budget where the rest of the world is like, hey, see that shiny light at the top of the hill? It's America again. You want that. And so I said, so we'll go through this pain, but a byproduct will be that we'll be able to refinance our debts at a more sustainable rate, like the 1% my friend Chris Patel referenced above. I'm sure that's Scott Bessent's plan. He's talked about this. All of them have talked about this. They've told you what's coming. I've been telling you that pain is coming. I've been buying the dips, and it looks like I'm getting another opportunity to. But this pain has to happen now. It has to. And we knew, we've talked about this for weeks and weeks. I know because I posted that I posted Kathy Wood's statements about how there's M2 velocity collapsing. Like, I think her video was like 2.5 weeks ago, and we talked about it on here. And then again, Michael Howell talking about how we were going to see a pocket, an air pocket of liquidity missing in Q1. This is all a part of it, okay? And Michael Howell's getting more bearish. Kathy Wood's getting more bullish. Tom Lee was bullish yesterday. He's a little quieter today, and I get it, okay? When you've got a lot of people to account for your actions and what you've been saying and thinking, it can be tough to just constantly have to provide updates. And sometimes it's just good to be quiet. So I get it. I don't blame them at all. Take a break, absorb what's coming in, see what price action's like today, and reevaluate. That's great. Probably a good plan. But I think this is the plan that's coming, right? And I'll get caught up with comments in a second here. But I think this is what's coming. And I think that after this, right? And I won't even say after the refinancing of debts, but just literally with people realizing that this is the game plan, when they realize that and they realize it's working, and I think that can come in months, maybe a quarter, maybe another quarter. But I think they'll realize it's working. I think TLT will do really good. I think the markets will start to turn around, and I want to try and capitalize from that. I'm hoping that over the next several months, as the 10-year falls, like it is today, dropping underneath the 200 moving average. Let's just look at this real quick here. Again, rolling over the 200 moving average, not finding support on it yet. This is a bearish pattern. This thing gets us into the threes. It could get us even lower, especially if we're creating tons of pain through austerity measures. Maybe we get into the twos. Maybe we get into the 2% range. Maybe we drop down into the ones over a very short period of time, depending upon what's happening. These things are going to be fluid. We don't exactly know the answer of what's happening 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now with what we're doing. These are massive changes. A rate cut in March? I mean, it's possible now. Last I checked, there was a 9% chance or 11% chance of a rate cut in March, guys. This is crazy because this is 15 days from today. 15 days from today, and we're talking all of a sudden there's a 1 in 5 chance of getting a rate cut. It's pretty nuts. Trump is pumping or flushing tonight. Yeah, again, I'm definitely gonna be watching that. I might even do a stream for that actually. I'm gonna watch it anyway, so we'll see. But yeah, anyway, and then May is starting to look more solidified. 42.4% chance of. Remember, what did I say yesterday, guys? Did I not say that I would expect to see the May chance probability of a rate reduction in the 40%, 30 to 40% by today? And that's where we are. And I think those odds are just going to increase. We're going to be looking at massive potential for rate cuts because the market gets what's happening. Now, so we're breaking the economy right now. We're breaking a lot of economies around the world because we're going to be applying right now. We've done 25% tariffs against Mexico and Canada. And then, and again, and Trump is being particularly obtuse because he wants to. Is Trump hosting something tonight, Jesse? I think. Is it tonight that he talks to Congress, guys, or is it tomorrow? You tell me. March probability is 11% now. So it's changed a lot. And then May is actually higher. May is 46.8% of one cut or two. How crazy is that? How crazy is it how quickly this stuff moves? It's tonight. Yeah, so Trump will be talking to Congress tonight. If you guys want to throw out the time, please do that. And that's going to be a big deal. But let's get through. So after we break the economy, while we're breaking the economy, like as quickly as weeks from now, some of these things are going to start to happen. 6 p.m. Eastern, so 5 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Pacific. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 7. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Thank you. All right. So let me just look here real quick. So after we break it, while we're breaking it, we're going to do things to fix it too. Now, we already are, right? Like right now, Doge, we're reducing the deficit by what we're projecting to be $1 trillion or close. And the number, I think it's about 120 billion if my figures are correct. You can look over here at the debt clock, but it's always, I said this before, it's always like 40, 50 million higher. It seems to be about a month ahead of the time frame, maybe a little bit less at times, jockeying back and forth. But this is huge. If we eliminate $1 trillion in fiscal stimulus and spending, or I should say spending, from the government, that's going to be reoccurring and only growing every year that goes by, our bond market's going to be much more attractive. And so again, TLT will look better. I said, note, this will be more impressive than the National Performance Review that helped Bill Clinton balance the budget during his presidency. This will just be what we're doing now, guys, is much more impactful, much more powerful, much bigger of a wave. Again, Gold Card program will bring in revenue and wealth to spend in the United States. Tariffs will bring in revenue and wealth. We'll look at some of that in a second, but we've already had $1.6 trillion pledged towards the United States. We talk about that a little bit right here. Corporations being able to depreciate your investment right away in the first year. You got huge tariffs. You can depreciate your investment right away in the first year. So we've already seen 1.6 trillion pledged towards investing in the United States over the next 4 years. Under Biden's presidency, we barely got $1 trillion the entire time. We've gotten that in 2 months. No tax on tips, Social Security, and overtime. We're going to get the vast majority of this. I'd say at least 80%. That's going to be huge. Like out of the things that on this list. Corporate tax rate extensions and additional reductions. Energy cost, 50% off. Right now, one of the things that's great about what we're doing is we're crushing energy prices. So again, this is not bullish. This is not bullish. The price of oil is 67. We just got OPEC to agree with us on increasing demand. Why would they do that? Because we have the power right now. And one of our goals is apply pressure now to do the things that we know we need to do with austerity. It's something that everybody said, everybody but me, well, I can't say but me, some people said austerity. They're like, austerity isn't going to happen. There's no way they have the conviction to do it. Well, fuck you. We sure do. We are. Get ready for it. But this pattern, a descending triangle, the measured move on this alone, I'm not even joking, puts us in the 30s. I'm not even joking. We did that in the 2015 to 16 range. We did that in 2008 to 2009 range. We did that in the pandemic. I think we're going to do it right now. And again, this could create short-term pain, but there's a lot of positives coming along the way. But yeah, again, the measured move for this drop, guys, even if I'm not being crazy and I'm just calling it right here, puts us in the 30s. And this chart is damning. All these touch points here, this thing wants to roll over, and that's probably what's going to happen. Now, let's go back here. We got more. Am I buying more? I might actually. We'll see. I don't know, Tyler. I'll post it, or we'll talk about it when the market's open and figure it out. And I do have some other videos to show you too. One from Joe Lonsdale that just came out this morning, and then another one talking about how the distressed credit market has never been prettier than it is right now. That it's an opportunity right now where people are looking to buy distressed debt. Imagine that. That doesn't sound like the fucking narrative, does it? Does that sound like, would you have assumed that is what's happening? Would you? We're going to talk about that in a little bit here. We'll play a video. But yeah, so energy costs, 50% off. Russia has a reason to go along with this. So we've already got OPEC for the most part doing this. That's probably in part with Russia, agreements that we have with them of trying to close down this war. And if nothing else, lifting sanctions, starting to get tons of energy from them. By the way, did you know that the Europeans are spending more on energy from Russia to fund Russia's war than they're spending to try and defend the fucking Ukrainians? Imagine the incentives here. You show me the incentives, I'll show you the outcome. What do you think the incentives are for ending this fucking war and having it be successful when they're paying out more to Russia than they're giving to Ukraine? Do you think that ends well? Anyway, so there's an incentive here for Russia to work with us to get energy prices down and also feed us rare earth elements. Rare earth elements are not rare. They're just nobody wants to refine them because it's a dirty, ugly process, and all the fucking hippies start yelling. Well, I mean, they used to be hippies. They don't seem to care about the environment anymore, but they'll start yelling at you normally. But energy prices coming down by 50%, probably a good thing. Doge dividends, $5,000 in a year, or what I would like to see, $420.69 a month. Imagine how stimulative that is. That could be happening in the next 2 to 3 months. I think with a high probability, it probably is. Omen, thank you for signing up. I appreciate you, my friend. You can now talk and chat. Ask Grok. Europe is not paying more. Okay, well, you tell me the numbers. But again, it doesn't matter. The energy costs right now, and I'll show you some. We can dispute it. I'll show you some showing how much energy is being purchased, even if it's 70% of the number of what's being paid for to help Ukraine. What the fuck? How does it end? It doesn't end. It doesn't end. And we've pulled out. We're done. So good luck with Russia. Good luck. This war will come to an end. People don't have to like it. It's okay. Some people love war. They love seeing people die. I mean, I could pull up some videos right now just showing Ukrainian body parts flying all over the screen. I could show you Russian ones. I can show you North Korean ones. I can show you Chinese ones. They all kind of pop off the same way. Like a head goes this way, or maybe it doesn't take off that many limbs. It depends on how good the drones are, right? But some people love that shit. They want that all day long. I mean, right now, what is it? It's like 40,000 roughly Ukrainian people die every month. Just get wiped off the face of the earth, getting kicked and dragged to the front line. And Russia has that same problem. So 80, 90,000 people dying every month. I mean, who doesn't love that shit? I think it's wonderful, right? We want death and destruction. Who needs another generation? War should continue. Just like Zelensky said, it's important to have war. It's important to have it keep going on until they win and are victorious. That's what we want. We don't want peace. We don't want restructuring. We don't want to have greater ties with the United States. We don't want, from the United States standpoint, we definitely want a better relationship with Russia because we've got our own goals to accomplish. And those are the ones that we're focused on. That's just the way it is. Did people not realize that America first and make America great again were literal fucking statements? And he didn't say it was going to be easy in the first 2 months. Fuck. Just a bunch of little bitches. Anyway, keep going. Should probably read chat. Probably just way off on my own over here. Deregulation, like what we just saw today within the small business sector. I forget what it was, the BOI program, whatever it was. It was some bureaucratic bullshit where you could end up in fucking jail. And most small business owners didn't even know it existed. And you could get fined an exorbitant amount of money. I think it was like $15,000 plus like so much per day. What the fuck? Bye. Sovereign wealth fund starts investing and at the same time supporting the markets. Again, you crush this bitch. You crush it. You get the rates down. You refinance your debts. You try and get them in the 2s, 1s, whatever you can. Low amount. You crush it. You crush the market and make it feel maximum pain so that you could drive down rates. Then you refinance that shit for long terms, and then you kick this bitch into overdrive. This is the game plan. Market crash, right on schedule. Good job. Good job, Akash. Thank you for helping me out. Crypto regulation and Bitcoin reserve help bring in even more money into this country. Stablecoin legislation also creates more demand and trade with dollars, which also supports the bond market. Because again, they end up buying these fucking treasuries, right? So the bigger the stablecoin market gets, which is all U.S. denominated, all of it really, all the traffic, way more than just the U.S. dollar and trade. And you're going to increase that even more, and you're going to make it to where you're applying pressure to pay down bonds too, or people to purchase bonds too, which is great. We want that, right? And you could force China to buy our fucking bonds again. You could force all of Southeast Asia and Europe to buy our bonds again because they need us. And I'll show a number of reasons why they all need us. Okay? They all need us. Grok says EU gave 21.9 billion on Russian oil and gas, and they gave 20. So yeah, who gives a fuck? I'm sorry. Who gives? Okay, so I'm sorry. They spent slightly less supporting Russia than they did Ukraine. How does that end the fucking war? How does it end it? And if we paid for 45% of the war, like let's assume that a bunch of it just went off to God knows where. If we paid for 45% of the war, and we leave, how does that turn out? How does that turn out? I'll show you some polling numbers of what Europeans think about supporting the war in Ukraine. They all agree that they should. None of them want to pay for it. None of them want to increase the amount of money. And none of them want boots on the ground. So good fucking luck. What stock rose 1,300%? Just heard somewhere. I don't know. You tell me. I'm on a thing here. I'm on a quest. All right. So the stablecoin legislation, again, positive. Housing market restarts from lower rate environment. Imagine that too. So we've crushed rates. We've got it to where we've refinanced our debt. We've got it to where Europe, China, maybe Japan and other parts of Asia have helped buy our bond market. They've also done that because it's so attractively priced. And they're searching for safety because their markets got fucked, just like ours is right now. I mean, that seems to be what's happening. So, again, this would be good, right? We already know the housing market's been dead for 3 years. Over 3 years. Right? It stopped when rates started growing at the fastest rate in history. So what do we need? We need lower rates to reignite the housing market. If we've got all of the above, if we got $5,000 checks, a sovereign wealth fund, crypto regulation, stablecoin legislation, Doge dividends, deregulation across tons of sectors, making it easier to do business, energy costs down by 50% or even 30%, corporate tax rate extensions and reductions. We're eliminating debt. We've got no tax on tips, Social Security, and overtime. We got a gold card program bringing in the richest people in the fucking world of this country to spend in the greatest country in the world, and we will be that. And I think that you have borrowers starting to refinance and setting off a boom. And there's more than this. I said in conclusion, I think a lot of the above lists will start happening in the next 2 to 3 months, along with tariff concerns peaking around that same time. Again, we're doing all this stuff. We're getting as much as we can through the omnibus. We're using the reconciliation process to cram this fucker through, even if Democrats disagree. That's what we're doing. This is the plan. This is the plan. And I think real Donald Trump will indicate that we're going to keep millions of illegal immigrants in this country after we get rid of the worst of them. I know he hasn't said that, but have you noticed he doesn't tell you everything right away? But he does tell you what he's going to do. He tells you what his fucking goals are. He just doesn't tell you how he's going to get there because he uses that to negotiate and finalize. And then when he has a deal, he tells you. That's the way that's the way you should be. That's the way a government should be run. When you have to deal with hundreds of other countries around the world. You've got to be a good negotiator. You've got to be thoughtful. You've got to be clear on your objectives, and then you got to see what you can get out of it. This is what we want. This is not bad. But yeah, we're going to keep millions of illegal immigrants. I don't even know what that number ends up being. And I said we need them for the manufacturing base that he wants to create. We will lock that border down tighter than shit. And then we're going to start bombing the fuck out of Mexico. We're going to be dropping, we already have drones flying all over it, tracking the cartel and figuring out what they're doing. We're going to start bombing the shit out of them. Mark my words, that's what's coming. And one of the things that we do with Mexico to relieve tariffs is we get an agreement from them that they're going to pass on the tariffs to China, like they were talking about doing this week. The other part will be wiping out these fucking cartels. We want them gone. They're causing too many problems, and it costs U.S. taxpayers too much money to have endless amounts of drugs flooding our cities. How do we get rid of it? We can't just do it with fentanyl. We can't just get rid of fentanyl and slow that traffic down. We've got to wipe out the Mexican drug cartels. That is the fucking plan. If you don't believe me, listen to Steve Hegseth. Listen to him for a minute. It's happening. I'm watching these military videos. I watch them all the time. I have for years. I watched 1,000 hours maybe of Ukraine and Russia content. I watch all this stuff all the time. And I can see all this military content talking about the drones flying over and what our plans are against the cartels. I'll start posting a few things about it. But we're going after it. And so imagine a Mexico where the drug and fentanyl trade and all this stuff is just gone. And they're working with us way more tightly on resources and everything. And they're eliminating tariffs on us and we're eliminating tariffs on them. But a part of that agreement is putting more pressure on China. The same shit is going to happen with Canada. And so I'm bullish. I said, what do you guys think? And what do you think? We'll go through chat here in a second. I go, personally, I'm bullish for the second half of this year. When I think of the most likely scenarios, and I got a second part of here, and I think it's even better, okay? I personally do not bet against Elon Musk. You guys can. I don't give a shit. You do you. I won't. I've learned the hard way. I thought he was a fucking idiot about COVID. I was the fucking idiot. Every time I've been like, Elon, why are you doing that? I have been wrong, like 98% of the time. And so I'm just going to make the assumption that he's smarter than me. You guys don't have to do that. I am. And I don't think he's the only one. I think this entire administration is amazing. I don't know. Pam Bondi, I'm just like trying to figure it out. And Kash Patel's been super quiet. We'll see. But outside of that, I love JD Vance. I think Trump has a very clear vision from 4 years of having 100 plus lawsuits against him. I think his vision on what he wants to accomplish is super fucking clear. And you know what else? Have you guys thought about this? Who did he hire? He hired everybody that had been attacked by the previous administration. Kash Patel, attacked. Tulsi Gabbard, attacked. Robert F. Kennedy, attacked. Every one of them, the Health of Human Services or whatever, personally attacked by this government, monetarily, lost, like kicking off social media. Every one of these people were attacked. He wants them in there for a reason, because he knows that they know what it feels like and they're going to be driven to make it better. There is a pattern here. I hope people can see it. So I'm saying, hey, could it be this simple? Should we just pick the fucking winning team? Is it okay to do that nowadays? After all, Warren Buffett has a famous saying, for 240 years, it's been a terrible mistake to bet against America. And now is no time to start. America's golden goose of commerce and innovation, again, what we're good at, what we're still good at, will continue to lay more and more eggs and never bet against America. So I'm going to end this first part with maybe it's time all these whiny bitches start to listen to his wise words and what Trump is telling you he's going to do very fucking clearly. All right. So whiny people about Trump are going to seriously piss me the fuck off. I don't know if you've gotten that yet, but I have very strong faith in what's coming next. And I've got a vision of it. And to me, it's as clear as tomorrow. All right. Well, as clear as today. Start over. It's like it's right in front of me. And I don't know how to convey that level of confidence with other people. I don't know how to do that. But I can tell you that TLT was in the red today, and now it's starting to turn green. And I think more people are going to end up buying the options and the stock. And my plan is to, I mean, it depends on how far we drop, but my plan is to hold that stuff for as long as I can. And I'm willing to get super fucking red. I don't care. The asymmetric bets will only get better, and I can apply more capital later. I have $1 million in TLT, and that is a good number because that, from my calculations, could get me from anywhere to 2 to 5 million easily. And then I'm near, if I get 5, I'm near all-time highs again. But I'm in it at the bottom of the fucking bear market. And I don't care if that happens in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a fucking year. I don't care. Because my TLT is good till 2027. 2027. And the numbers I need to hit aren't even that fucking far off. So my strikes, let me just show you here. Hey, Adam, what's up, brother? My strikes, look at this. So I think we can do this. I think we can go up 54 fucking percent. I'll show you what that number looks like. But my strikes, here's my strikes. My strike is here, right here, 8 fucking percent for one of my contracts. And the other one is 19% away. So anything beyond that is just easy fucking money and extra premium that I get to capture. There's intrinsic and extrinsic value in the options, right? So extrinsic value, I'll be capturing a lot if this happens in short order and we get to this trough over here in the volume, which is easy to get to, which is why I fucking picked it. But I think this is the lifeboat. I don't know if people are on, and you guys do you. I'm not, this isn't investment advice. I'm a high school dropout, man. Like, you better have some fucking accountability for your own actions. But I've shown you what TLT is capable of doing over short periods of time. I've shown you 49% moves, 40% moves, 40% moves. Again, what is this, 30? And then this massive fucking move here, and then this other one here. And in this period of time where, what was it? The end of 2018 to the beginning of February 20th, right? So this is less than a year and a half and this bitch moves 60%. What happens when Scott Bessent and all these guys just simply crush these economies around the world while, and their stock markets especially, while lowering energy and doing all the things I've listed? All these positive things along with, getting rid of debt and doing all this other stuff. I can tell you what happens to these rates. The Fed cuts like a motherfucker. And the bond market, the long end of the curve, starts to adapt quickly, especially when we apply pressure on all these other countries, saying something like, you know what? Maybe, you gave us a bunch of resource, rare earth minerals contracts that are going to be really beneficial to us. We'll let some of those tariffs go. Hey, you know what? You went ahead and started buying our bonds. We're going to let it go. Tariffs go away and you're going to enrich yourself. Does that sound like a good fucking game plan? Does getting rich and helping the devaluation of your own currencies, does that sound like a fucking game plan that will work for you? Is that doable? People don't realize how much we'll be winning. And I'm waiting for it. I'm fine sitting here. I hope you are. I hope you have some vision of the future. I hope you can see it somewhat clearly. It seems like a lot of people don't today. A lot of people revert to, news bad today. Me hate Trump, even though me vote for Trump. Fuck. What did you vote for? Was it this? Did you vote for this?
My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.
Did you vote for this? I voted for this. I wanted the future of civilization to be preserved. I wanted an environment where we put our country first. And I think we're doing it in the most brilliant of ways that some people might not get. And that's okay. I should rechat. I'm just sitting here fucking just bleh. Sorry. We don't have a lot of economic data, but we might have had something at 7:30. Let me look. No, it's 7:55. We got Red Book. Oh, we did get LMI Logistics and Managers Index. Let's look at it super quick. And what is this index? I should probably say. Let's see here. The Logistics Manager Survey is a monthly study aimed at revealing the status of U.S. logistics activity. The LMI score is a combination of 8 unique components that make up the logistics industry, including inventory levels and costs, warehouse capacity, utilization, and prices, and transportation capacity, utilization, and prices. The LMI is calculated using diffusion index, in which any reading above 50% indicates that logistics is expanding. A reading below 50% indicates that it's shrinking. So I'll have to look and see what kind of what the details are on all of this and dig into it. But here's what we do see for the LMI index. We see a beautiful growth trend since the middle of 2023. This is good. What's the average price? I don't know. I've got my wife's account that's got a couple 100,000 in it, and then I've got about 800,000 in mine. And I've got two different contracts. So it's hard to say. I can give you a rough idea just from my main account. Give me 1 second and I'll tell you that. But no, I think this is good. I think this is good in expanding, right? This is what we want to see. This is tight. I like it. All right, let me look over here. 1 second. I have, what is my average cost? You know what? I'll just bring it over. You could see it. You could see it. TLT. All right, there we go. So my average price for the 100s on here, and some of these I sold, so it's actually probably looks higher than it was before, but my wife's account's probably a better example. Maybe I'll pull that up. It's 543, right? And it's 631 right now. It's probably going to be higher today, would be my guess. And then the 110s, I got them at 335, and it looks like they're up about 19.5%, and the others are up about 16. But again, I made even more than that. In the wife's account does a better job showing it. I'll actually pull that up while I look at chat here real quick. We can look at that too. The dilemma, add to TLT or BTC related bets or both. That's a good question. I don't know. So again, if you're Tom Lee, you think the pain ends this week, and it could. It really could. And I think maybe you do both. I'm not in too much of a rush to get in, but I could see myself applying 50,000 today. If TLT actually does really good too, maybe it has a 5% or more pump, then maybe I do another 50 and do 100,000, starting to just distribute. And again, I'm probably lengthening out my time frames to give me a lot of time to win, at least September for crypto-related options contracts. And again, but maybe I do something like that. Hey, Jesse, super curious. Do the tax benefits from trading in your tax-advantaged account overweigh the penalty for withdrawing early? It depends. So there's some things that helped me during the pandemic. There was a disruption because I took my kid out of school because I was a fucking liberal retard who thought that it would be safer for my kid to be at home. You know what I found out? I mean, there were some good financial benefits, and I'll get to it. But I found out I'm a horrible fucking teacher for a first grader, because I have absolutely no patience whatsoever. And I see all of the things I don't like about myself and my daughter, too, when trying to teach her. Like just inability to focus and just a lot. So, yeah. So, you know what I learned? She should have stayed in school. But the schools were retarded, too. Everybody's wearing masks. Just a horrible fucking experience, right? But there was a benefit for me because there was a disruption. And I ended up again having to try and teach my daughter, and I retired from my job, ended up having to stop that because of the shift though and the disruption. I was able to take out $100,000 from my retirement account tax free. So there's times where things happen that you can take advantage of. And again, if you end up using your retirement account as your income, that's all it is, right? It's a 10% penalty that you'd have to endure for early withdrawal, along with an income. But if your normal income disappears because you end up retiring, then it's actually not that bad. It's better than you think. And what you would do is, first off and foremost, if you're pulling from accounts, you're going to pull from your long-term accounts, like pull from any kind of savings first, pull from your long-term accounts where you get long-term capital gains next, then pull from your IRA, not Roth, your IRA, because Roth is after tax. You want to leave that bitch in there for as long as possible. Because again, at the end, maybe we don't even have taxes in the future. There's so much happening right now, man. I don't even know what to tell you about what's going to happen in the years ahead from tax advice, but there's ways to think about it. So it's, again, you have to think about your particular situation. If you're in the U.S. or somewhere else, there's a lot to think about. Dario said Mexico is moving closer to the U.S. while Canada drifts away temporarily. I think that'll get a lot better. Adam says change, and that's where we're getting. Just stay patient. Yes, damn right, America. Yes, Amit. Hey, Jesse, super curious. Do the tax. Oh, that was you. Kumar, what's the average? Oh, we did that. TT, Friday is a big day for crypto. Tippy 2000, your stream is usually number one in my recommendation screen. Today, I had to go to my screen to find it. That sucks. Alex Garcia, I'm just adding TLT today, adding the dip. I think that's the really safe bet, man. That might be what I do too. Silas, haven't you heard of the Don't Trade Your Wife's Account Act? Yeah, no. I mean, she doesn't want to touch any of this stuff. She loves me, and we have different strengths. She's a lot more patient than me. I can be a little more aggressive. I don't know if anybody's seen that. But we have many different strengths. I am the financial guy, so we've never had a problem with that. I just give her a credit card and let her do whatever the fuck she wants. And if things are tight, and again, there's a joke on here, a meme I'll show you, where it's like this bro has like $2 million across his accounts, and somebody's like, "Hey, you want to go out tonight?" And he's like, "Dude, I'm broke." I'm a little bit that way sometimes. So there's sometimes where I'm like, "Hey, please cut back for a week." But I have bought 2 Teslas in the last month, so that time isn't right now. Tippy 2000. Oh wait, that was you. Mike, do we have any realistic expectations of tangible news for this crypto summit Friday? I don't know that we do, but I think they're probably going to be more positive than negative because we're going to get so pummeled today, and then we'll see how things go with Trump tonight. He might tell us that we're going to have more pain ahead. How do you think markets deal with that? So we'll see how things go, but the Friday we got that big jobs data. Hopefully that's the last flush. If I haven't done any buying in the markets by Friday, I will buy Friday or Thursday. If we just have a bunch of down days and just tough news over the next several days, I will start to buy if markets really get crushed. Again, just extend your time horizons, but you can make a lot of money during times like this. Namdatan, Jesse, you have great self-awareness. Most dysfunctional parents don't have that skill. Yeah, my wife is better at it than me. She ends up telling me what's wrong with me, and then I'm like, that's a really good point. Again, finance, I win. That kind of stuff, emotional intelligence, some of these other things. I've learned some of it, but it's mostly from her. Lol, wow, Jesse, 100%. I graduated in college, and I have the same issue with my first grader. It's not about school. Yeah. It's tough being a teacher. We should take better care of them. They should get paid a lot more money than these fucking NGOs and these liberal prick elite assholes that want to still have the money printer coming to them. They can go fuck themselves. Money printer over. We're going to pay our teachers more money. We're going to help wipe out the federal side of it, and then hopefully we can create some kind of incentives that enrich teachers and allow them to do a better job, or just make our classrooms more effective. Thanks, brother. You're the greatest. Thanks, Amit. And Fougdunny, thank you for joining as a member. Helicopter, yeah, it's confusing. I'm not pulling for my traditional IRAs right now because if there's a major tax reform, yeah, exactly. That's the way I look at it too. Don't pull out what you need. Be conservative over the next year. Let's see where we end up, and then think about shit like that. I think that's really smart. BGZ still 220-ish. For MicroStrategy bottom, I don't know, man. I mean, I think we're there. But I don't know. The pain that we're inflicting, this is a hell of a dunk. I do think, I don't know. Maybe we go lower. We could get that big washout in Bitcoin. Right now we're at 83K. It's sitting in the bottom corner, right? So right over here, guys. Maybe we just get that washout and it looks something like, I'll just draw the line real quick here. It looks something like this. So maybe this is what's coming. And if this comes, 220, we could blow through 220. If this comes, to 190 to 180, maybe 190 to 180, probably the bottom right down here, right here. Here, I'll do this. I'll draw a box and we'll do more charts today, guys. I know I do a lot of news-related events. I think some of the news is going to be really painful. So I'll probably do less of it. I'll probably bring it up just to make sure that you know about the really big things. But I'll probably do a little bit less of it so that we can focus on thinking big picture and be less about being a news channel and more about you understanding what's happening and then showing news that's applicable to that. My major portfolio is Tesla, and I haven't been checking my fidelity for the last 3 weeks. Kumar, that's actually really smart. Akash is crying too. Everybody's crying in chat. This is horrible. But that's actually really smart. That's a good technique for not letting yourself get too emotional, because if you don't look at it, it's literally not a problem. It's true, or at least it's less of one. If you obsess over the price action drops and look at tickers all day, it will be brutal for you, okay? It will be brutal for you. And you don't want that. Nobody wants it to be brutal for them. Yeah, it's confusing. Oh, yeah. BGZ, we did you. Jatinder, how low you think Tesla goes we could see that chart, please. Yeah, we can look at that too. So again, this is what I'm thinking, and this is updated in Discord for all you guys that have it. Let me pull up Tesla real quick too. We'll try and do this a little more balanced in the future and get more of these, especially on really rough days, man. Now, Tesla is actually hitting a large amount of support right here. Large amount of support. Can it go lower? Yeah, it can. Let's draw a box for that. And then we'll try and look at, again, support starts to really thicken. And we got gaps here too, guys. So I'm going to say this. I'll say this. Support, really strong support, is probably going to be here. I think, yeah, once we get this other gap. There's another gap down here. So technically we could wick down and close it. But there's going to be some gaps that don't fill. And there's a little baby one, like I think over here. Yeah, but all the others have basically filled, except for these ones way the fuck over here in 2020. Those don't have to fill. But you could get, there's really strong support right here. And we're already right here. So I'm going to say, or actually I'm going to probably put it right here. Right here. I'd say this is the strongest level of support, and I'll draw it down to the fib just to be consistent. I think that's smarter. So this is the level of support where we have just really strong support. So I would start buying at the top of this pretty, if you're really interested in Tesla, and then I would keep buying on the way down because, again, the support increases exponentially. And then if we overshoot for some crazy reason, because things are just, again, if things are really insane, we could go down to here, we could go down to here. But this is the part where it gets a lot sweeter. Right through here. I'll just leave it a big fucking one. Just because I don't know the level of pain that we're going to experience. What moving averages are you using? Okay, so I use the 50, which is always purple. I use the 100, which is always yellow. And I use the orangish red down here, brownish, whatever, for the 200 moving average. Every chart is consistently that way. So if you're looking at Discord through my charts, that's what they are. And the 200 on the daily and the weekly, this weekly time frame, is going to be very, very strong. It is the ultimate back test. When you've back tested, and we never really back tested from this major breakout that went back a very, very long ways. And I don't know if this is lined up right now. It might have moved incorrectly. I could check it over a different time frame, but I'm just going to, for now, try and make it look a little, I don't know, a little more accurate. Let's see, right about here maybe. Something like that. I'll check it later. But, yeah, so this could happen. This could totally happen. Getting down to this range. Again, peak volume here. I would not expect anything under 180-ish. So if we get, and then again, you've still got this strong trend upwards. And I should just draw a line for that, actually. So that is going to be some wicked levels of support right down here. Right down here. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to draw it to that. I'm going to give it, we're going to have a really big box here. I know this isn't telling you much because it's like, hey, we're already here and somewhere here. I should actually use two different colors. I'll do that later, but like I'll do a color for this. I'll do a lighter version. That's what I normally do just to show like, hey, this is a light level of support. This is the really strong stuff. Yeah, let's look at RSIs here too. So RSI is still at 42. But again, if we wash out, let's look at washouts. Let's look at washouts over the time on the weekly time frame for Tesla. This, and this. We have 3 times where we've entered oversold conditions of 30 on Tesla's chart. If we get down to these lower levels here, we'll probably be at the 4th lowest level on the weekly RSI that Tesla's ever had. If that's not a strong buy zone, I don't know what is. Let's look here. The last time that happened, it was around here. Yeah, that's going to be a bottom. Over here, look at this. So when Tesla, to put this into perspective, I'll just go way down here. When Tesla was at $10, and again, then it shot up to about 17, it hit that level, the oversold conditions. May of 2019, it was $12.94. Over the course of the next 2+ years, it would go up to $400. $12.94 to $400. And then over here, when it was at $100, it went up to $300. And then over here, when it was $130, $40-ish dollars, the last time, the 4th biggest dip, it went from that to almost $500. And now we're getting ready to maybe surpass this other one. And so all I can tell you is buy. Buy when it happens. If this is your main investment, if this is your style, if Tesla is it, when we get down to the 240s, the 220s, the 216, maybe by some miracle sub 200 or right at 200, buy the fuck out of that investment if that's what you want to invest in. Are you buying options? No, I wouldn't buy options in MSTX. MSTX is a 2x levered fund. If you buy options on that, you will wreck the shit out of yourself if your timing isn't perfect. Do not do that, in my opinion, at all. What else we want to look at? Please look at CLSK. How much lower is possible? Oh my God. I don't know. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. What the fuck? CLSK. How much lower is possible? Well, here's the bright news. We have already, what was it, 69%? A 69%, 70% drop from where we were in March. A lot of it has happened, but it can wick painfully lower. I don't know that it will because it's just so incredibly oversold and it's retarded where it's at. But I mean, maybe 640. Maybe 640. What would that be? 74% drop. I mean, technically, if the world is falling apart for a month, maybe it's an 80% drop. But here's the thing. Leap options, just to get back to like 11, will be so insanely priced if that ends up happening. So, again, just mentally prepare yourself for damage and carnage. But you have a strong support level on this one. And again, just remember the purpose of what we're doing, guys. You got to remember the purpose. You got a strong support level, I would say, all through here. This is just wicked levels of support. And I think you could pretty easily buy like a 13 or a 15. So I'd probably change my targets on the next set of calls that I bought based on that. Or maybe even just keep it at 10 if we got down to 4 or something. I don't know. You could be conservative. You could not. It's totally up to you. We're in the 82s right now. I think we're continuing that washout down into potentially the 60s. It's going to be a fun market today, guys. Let's look over here. Let's see how we're doing with stuff. So the 10-year is completely rolling over. It's down 0.6%. I think that will just get more intense. Oil is still in the 67s. That's pretty good drop. Again, this first level of support really starts around 65-ish and change. And then if we break underneath of that, it's really about getting down to the 50s. And TLT, again, our baby here, it actually shows that it's down 0.02% in market. I would expect that to go up. Am I still in MSTX? In a huge way. I bought a lot. Probably not great timing. Oh, here, I never pulled up my wife's thing. Let me pull up hers real quick, and I'll just show you what that looks like. So, kill two birds with one stone. But yes, I'm in MSTX. How much? I don't know. I'll have to look. I did apply a bunch of it. But I also think we're nearing the bottom, so I would do more. All right, let me get in here. So this is the wife account. I never show this one. But yeah, if you look over here, I got to change the settings to hide account numbers too. But if you look over here, I've got about 200,000. I think that's what I said. And my buy here was an average of 434. So this one's up 45%. So this shows you kind of, I already took some money off the table so it doesn't look as good on the primary account because I was buying the dip with it. Oh God, we've got Howard Lutnick talking. We're going to have to go to that, I think, probably now. But again, so I've been buying in here. I don't remember what was the question. Are you still in MSTX? Yes, and I am. I'll pull that one up real quick here. Got to change. Let me just log out. I got to change the security settings in the wife's account. I got 2 thumbs down in this post. People did not like the TLT play. Or they didn't like it because they're not in it. That's probably what it is. All right, let me see here. Flip MSTR to MSTX at the bottom. Yes, I think that's a great way to do it. The problem is we don't totally know where the bottom is, so you could be bottomy for a bit. It just all depends on how bad we crush. But like I said in my post that we just went over today, for the first half of this video, I believe strongly that within the next couple of months, the narrative is going to change. It's going to go from really dark to really positive. So I'm okay with that. And then, yeah, TLT, or MSTX, that's what you had a question about. $590,000. I'm down 30%. Oh, yeah, here, I'll show it to you. I'm down 30% So right now on this investment, and then the MSTR one is broken. It makes it look like it's better than it is because I have a negative $39,000 cost basis. But I am doing pretty good on that one. Like it's not that bad. But again, it's just all fucked up. It doesn't matter because this is an IRA. So I haven't even reached out to Ally to get it fixed because it's just income when I withdraw it. And eventually if I exit out of this trade, it'll fix it and then I can start fresh. So if I end up dumping all my MSTR into MSTX, it'll look better. But I'm down 31% on this investment, right? So that sucks. But thank you for asking. Let's just look at MSTR real quick, okay? And then we'll get into other stuff. How do you guys like this format? Like, is it okay to kind of jump from the norm every once in a while and do something different and break it up a little bit? All right, so MSTX. So let's say, so again, I'm down 30%, right? Oh, fuck, dude, I'm down 30% on my MSTX, bro. 30%, it's so painful, bro. But what are other people down? Other people are down 90 fucking percent. So I think I've done all right. Who's going to... Jesse, good job, Jesse. Not too bad, Jesse. Good job. Good job. You did all right, kid. So yeah, people can look at it and they could be like, oh, you're down 30% on MSTX, 31% almost, really. Probably more today. And they could be like, you're such a fucking idiot. But you know what? There's people that have been on a lot worse than I am. I think my timing is a lot better than theirs. And again, it's one of those things where when you're down 91%, could it go further? Yeah, it could. But we just wash out to the starting line at 16. Totally possible. But the upside that we'll have off the bounce in MSTR will be the stuff of legends. So just maybe be conservative and dial into it. It's what I'm doing. You guys do you. Dylan, love it. I find I learn a lot more when you take this time to dive a little deeper. Yeah, I need to do more of that. I've been doing a lot of news, but if the news is just nothing but depressing, I'll absorb that stuff and I'll probably try and avoid bringing it up as much. And I'll try and focus on the big picture stuff and maybe painting out that big picture for people because I think that's important, right? I think it's really important. But yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of upside. The numbers I'm looking at, I'm going to try and do a video about that too. As we get worse, I want to show you guys how much better the numbers get. Like ARKG today, in 2 days, ARKG is down 8%. I'm going to look at the contracts. They probably washed out just a ton. I don't know if I get more, I'm going to get them probably further out. I dial out my time frame as things get really bad. I dial out my time frame, and then I also I lower my targets. So I'm being more conservative. And then if I think really that we're at the bottom, then maybe I'll move a little bit more into those targets that are a little bit shorter and a little bit higher in dollar amount and strike, because I feel really confident about the bottom, right? But the game plan here, I mean, we went from looking beautiful, and again, this thing was in a breakout. Its first breakout in years. Its first breakout of a downtrend that goes back how far? Well, I mean, the trend line itself, January of 2022. So 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. 4-year downtrend line just here. And the highs were even further out than that, or 3-year. And then the highs were further out than that, going out 4 years. So... But this thing will recover and it'll do better. And so we're down near that support zone again. So I'm probably going to add some further out contracts to ARKG today with some of that 50K. Love the pivot to more charts. Very helpful. Okay, I'll try and do more of that. I think over the short term, especially with news just not being really inspiring, I will absorb the good news, the bad news. I'll try and give you guys the good. I'll try and stay... again, I'm just going to tell you what I think my vision of the world is. And I think it's going to be right. I think it's going to be right or at least rhyme. And you guys figure out the rest of the shit from other sources and putting in the time and the effort to develop your own view. But that's probably what I'll do. IMF forcing El Salvador, trying to. They're trying to. I don't think they're going to force them to do anything. I don't think that's how this works. Real quickly, though, I do need to jump just for a second because there is some stuff I want to cover today, okay? Just real quickly. So a couple things. U.S. is drawing up a plan to provide potential sanctions relief for Russia as President Trump looks to restore ties with country per Reuters. So again, we're going to be drawing down our sanctions. We've already stopped funding for Ukraine. That will increase. Not all of it, but we stopped almost all of it. We got the 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, but we know the main objective is to try and put more pressure on China The 20% on China go in effect in early April. So this is, again, we're letting China know you bitches are up in 1 month, and we're not backing down. So we know these tariffs are at least going to be in place for a month, or to when China concedes or Canada and Mexico concede. That's it. There is no winning for them. There's no winning for them. I just want to be very clear and honest. This is not, our objectives need to be met. There is no winning. You can fight it all you want, but if your autonomy is a tenth or smaller than ours, you are fucked. So do what you got to do, Canada. But you're fucked. You fight this, you're fucked. It's only going to get worse. I did want to say this in regard to yesterday's Kobayashi letter literally spelled this out. He said the Dow just went from 300 plus points down to 1,100 in the red. And he gave us a breakdown of why that had happened. He showed that there was U.S. markets open. They did well. Selling pressure begins around noon. Trump investment announcement occurred. And then during that press conference, there was a discussion where they asked him about tariffs. And he said, no, that shit's happening. So that's what killed this. It was all that. That's it. That was yesterday, okay? That was it. So just so you understand. And that announcement, though, from TSM is $100 billion, 5 facilities in Arizona, created thousands of jobs, bring TSM's total investment up to $165 billion, creates hundreds of billions of dollars of economic activity. So that's good. But, again, and I won't go through all this, but that stuff's going to take time. So be ready for it. Let me see here. And again, Canada's retaliating with 25% tariffs against $155 billion in American goods. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just, this is just going to get worse for you guys. It doesn't matter. You're smaller. We already talked about this. Trueflation's number. So they thanked me for putting out my post, and they wanted to show something else. They wanted to show how the BLS and the Trueflation reads are for CPI. And what they're showing you here is that they happen first. The CPI for Trueflation went up first. The BLS for Trueflation went down first. It moves first, then, or I'm sorry, the Trueflation moves first, then BLS follows it. This is how it works. Okay? This is how it works. And so Trueflation is a leading indicator. When it tells you inflation is falling off a cliff, when it tells you that the CPI is falling off a cliff, you listen to it. You listen to it, okay? And it did that. And it did that in a way where, again, lowest number in 49 months, but not just that. And that number very quickly could end up being almost 5 years. Almost 5 years, very quickly. 4.5 to 5 years, very, very quickly. And let's just pull up Trueflation real quick here. This is what I want you to understand. This isn't just a little drop. This is a cascade. And this is deliberate. So, again, good times ahead. I said we're entering a golden age with real Donald Trump at the helm. Such a great meme. There's our Trump train. I should play this later. I'm going to close out with this bitch. But anyway, let's get out of this. I don't know why. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. But that's a good one. We got to go back to that. Here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get me back to my starting point here. I want to play that later. But let's get down here. I want to go back. I want to show you. There's a couple other charts I want to show you real quick that are super important, and I'm just going to refresh here because I don't think they came in right away. Bookmarks on X suck. Ty says, been listening to a different market opens for years, but the chat has become unbearable. No such short-term, short-sighted negativity. This man gets the long-term prosperity of all that he brings. Thanks, man. I get it. Chat is horrific, right? Chat can be horrific if you let it go untethered. Solid breakdown of what happened. Oh, we did that. There's something else I want to show here. I just need to find it. It's in here. Where the fuck is it? Maybe it's lower. Oh, here's a good one. So this is Luca showing the 10-year bond yield just hit a 4-month low. What's the bond market trying to signal? It's signaling that it's going to break down, and that's going to continue. We did get this, though, from Banana 3. He said that's it. The 2-year just broke 4%, and it's 3.98. The Fed is cutting and cutting soon. I 100% agree. I wanted you guys to see that. Jeff Weniger, this is so important. He said, this is the AAII. This is the respondent survey that we saw. Just the most. Thank you, Ty and Hippie and Robertus. Thank you all for becoming members, man. I really appreciate you guys. But he said something that's really important in here. He said that survey that everybody's been looking at, it is at the most bearish fucking levels. And let's look at what happened around those levels. It is the beginning or the end of 1990. It is the end of 2008 and the beginning of 2009. That's at the end of the great financial crisis. It is 9/23/2022 right at the end of the financial crisis. And we're there now. And so we're feeling the pain, and it can go deeper, and it can be fast, and it can be furious. But we are there now, okay? We're there now. We're there now. We're at these levels where economies recover. The property market has been down for over 3 fucking years. And people are like, oh, what's happening, guys? The property market's going to fall apart. No shit. It's been there for 3 fucking years. The only direction it can go is up, because 80% of existing home sales have been frozen. And that will change when rates plummet, because we're making it happen. It's been the fucking game plan. Everybody in this administration has been clearly saying it. So listen, I got something else I got to show you that's important. Why? You tell me why distressed credit is good right now. Why is that market good right now? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Unless we're at the bottom. That's when it happens. So tell me, why is this the case?
Our next guest is an opportunistic investor and says that his firm is currently enjoying the biggest business opportunities since the 2008 financial crisis. That's pretty interesting when you consider how the economy's been doing to this point. Victor Khosla is the founder and chief investment officer of Strategic Value Partners, which has $19 billion in assets under management.
This guy is telling you that business is good in the distressed credit market and that he's stoked.
Victor, thanks for coming in today.
Why?
I am a little surprised to hear that this is such a great time for you, because while you have a broad firm, your roots are in distressed debt, and you're saying that you're seeing more activity than you've seen since the great financial crisis. Nobody would guess that, given the economic...
This is the real news. This is it. I will give you what actually fucking matters. If you like that, hit the like, speak up in chat, go into X and post. It should be right at the top. Go in there and click on it and let people know that you like what I bring, okay? I will get better at it. Here's the thing. I'm weird. I get lazy when times are good, and then I get really hardworking when they're not. And that's my promise to you. I'm the most productive when the shit is hitting the fan. And this is the real news.
Outlook, given the jobs impact, given where rates stand right now. What's going on?
Our roots are in distressed debt and restructurings 23 years ago.
Yeah.
And as a firm, we've really developed out.
So for 23 years, he's been in this market. Yeah, that's before 2008. Okay, cool.
Since then, we take control of businesses and look to fix them, improve them. We invest in real assets. It's a much broader hunting license than just distressed debt and restructuring.
Okay, so he does a lot.
Where are you seeing all the activity right now?
Yeah, it's we're across the board. And let me just set it up, right? So Becky, what we find is interest rates are higher. There are all these debt maturities which are coming due. And as a result of that, and by the way, trillions and trillions of dollars of deals have been done in a 0% environment since 2000.
Okay, so this is just that old business model of people relying on zero interest rates that they're still kind of caught up in, even though rates have come down recently. Yeah, and
and this fixing which has to take place, it's not like a liquid distressed opportunity. It's much more, you end up having to buy stuff, improve it, fix it. And it's like this steady stream of stuff. And by the way, it's been going on for the last year. So even as you've had these really strong equity markets, strong credit markets, you have this flow of stuff which has been happening for the last year.
Why is that? What's different? Why did it come about that way?
It's you get a debt maturity. Oh, by the way, statistically, you have 5% default rates today.
Okay.
There was 6.5% in COVID, 12% in the GFC.
So COVID was worse, the GFC was much worse, and we're not actually doing that bad on defaults.
Default rates are really elevated, and you wouldn't expect that. with these strong markets, right?
Right.
And what we find is, so if you look at, our business is US and Europe. The US economy much better shape than the European economy. So in the US economy, we clearly have, these maturities are hurting us. In Europe, the maturities are hurting. And in addition to the hurting maturities, you have a slower economy. So as a result, the flow pipe for us it continues to build from where we are.
But it does sound like it's harder work.
Everything. It's hard to make money.
All right, this is going on too long. But so I think I think though what he's saying is, again, we're getting near these levels at the bottom of the great financial crisis and these other time frames, the same kind of thing that we're seeing over here, where he's seeing that, and he's seeing that business is good and it can drop further. It's the same kind of thing that I'm already reiterating right now. But that's what's happening, and I think it's incredibly positive for anybody who has a long-term vision and who's hedged right now and can withstand a storm. It might not be positive for your BITX if it's down 7% this morning, or your CleanSpark if it's down 4%. I'm probably going to drop that 50 into some of these other investments. I'm still feeling good about it. And I'm ready for more drops because I got $1 million in TLT. But if you look over here, again, we're still in extreme fear and we're hanging out in it. I should actually pull up. I don't know if I have it here. Let me see if I've got the macro chart. Yeah, the fear and greed. Okay, cool. So we hit this level down here, guys. So this let me go out further too. I'm gonna go to the way back. Is this all? This is all. Okay, so this goes back to May of 2021. This is as far out as they go. But look at this. Look at where we are right now. We're at the absolute bottom. There's one other time since October of 2022, the bottom of this last bear cycle, the bottom of the last recession we saw, which ended in 2022, was at these levels. It was at these levels. Outside of that, there was one other time where we got down here, and that was in August. So these are buy times. I'll probably put at least $50,000 in capital today, maybe towards some miners, maybe some ARCG too. We'll see. But it'll be some different calls, and I'll post them. Please remind me on how to access the Discord. Oh yeah, okay. For people who don't know, it is under my profile too, which I need to update all the numbers. You guys know though they'll be bad over the short term, but this should be it. If I got it right, let me see here. Does that? It doesn't even show it as a link when I put that in. That's pretty lame. I am the fucking channel guy. Let me see if this actually works. I think it does. Yeah, okay, cool. That's it. And I dropped it down to $4. So there you go. All right. But again, this is good. This is exactly what we want. We're in a buy zone. I'm probably going to put 50,000. I probably won't put it into TLT because I already got $1 million. I'm probably just going to put it into this. BITX sounds like the workified term for another naughty word. Yeah. Nope, it's just a 2x fund for Bitcoin. So it's actually been doing all right. But again, it was doing all right yesterday morning. And I don't know there were some comments that I missed. They were good ones. If somebody had a really good comment they wanted me to take a look at, throw it out again, and I'll try and look. Go, do you think miner stock is just 6 months in, get out 6 months in, et cetera, between cycles? No, miner stocks can do really good. Here's the thing. I don't know about next cycle if I'm going to be doing miner stocks at all. I actually think I'll probably be doing microstrategy and IBIT calls. But we'll see. There's a lot of videos I got to play too, guys. We got about 15 minutes until the market opens. I want to hear Eunice talking right now. I want to hear what she has to say. Just 1 second here, and then I'll try and look through chat too. Rex mentioned FLNS and is beating down the stock. I don't want to look at new stock picks right now. I don't care. I don't care at all, honestly. I am very much focused on what I know and not looking to try and find other things. That might change at some point if I end up making money off the other things that I have right now, and I want to diversify a little bit, then I might end up doing some of that. 1 sec, I'm trying to get this feed to come up. If it won't, I'll have to switch. All right, fuck it. I'll just grab the one down below. I don't know why it's not playing. Give me 1 sec. I do want to hear Eunice Yoon and hear what she has to say about China in regard to the tariffs, because she gives the most honest opinions here, okay? And let's look. So this is a pretty involved conversation. But I want to hear what she has to say. It's going to be very important. So we don't have to worry about a lot of bullshit with her. It'll be as close as she can, and I can usually decipher Eunice pretty good. So here we go.
Well, the who knows what's going to happen means sell. That's what people do.
Target
was up $2 at 6:30.
Yep.
Hey, by the way,
It's not just about fentanyl, though. That's what Lutnick's saying. It's not just about fentanyl.
get this. I got a funny one. David, you ready for a real? A man walks into a bar at 3:30 a.m. and he buys NVIDIA at 1:15.
Jim mentioned these tariffs. Our Eunice is in Beijing with the latest. Hi, Eunice.
Hey, Carl. Well, the Chinese government, as you guys had mentioned, had threatened all necessary measures, countermeasures, when it comes to their reaction. But this batch actually was relatively limited. Minutes after President.
Oh, isn't that funny? Oh, they're not doing that much. I wonder why. Maybe they're gonna see too the pain that Canada and Mexico are going through, and they're gonna back off substantially.
Trump's tariffs had kicked in. China announced tariffs on the agricultural sector for the main part.
Sela says Canadians gotta accept the U.S. diary. We're ruling the world right now. It is what it is. Again, people don't realize this, but the United States over the last couple hundred years did help ensure free and open trade routes that were secured across the world so that we could turn into the wealthy nations that we are right now and rise ourselves out of poverty. And then we benefited from a lot from that in the beginning, and then we decided to literally give it all away, allow people to tariff the shit out of us. We started to learn to self-loathe and whip ourselves because we deserve self-flagellation because we were conquerors and we were people that came into these places and took them. We forget throughout history that white people weren't the only people that conquered across history. But whatever, it's convenient. But again, we helped create the prosperity, and we were one of the main reasons for it. So have we done shit wrong? Yes. We've done plenty wrong. We got into a bunch of wars. We tried to control Ukraine. Did you know we overthrew the leader of Ukraine in 2014 under the Obama presidency? Did you know that they helped with riots and to overthrow the existing government? How much better has that gotten for Ukraine since that time frame? And then there was the whole Crimea thing, and it's all a fucking clusterfuck. But anyway, let's get back to China. Focus, Jesse.
This was 10 to 15% tariffs on imports of soybeans, sorghum, beef, fruits, chicken, corn, cotton, wheat. In some of the cases, China is the biggest buyer of these products, such as soybeans and cotton. During President Trump's first trade war, China had also targeted agricultural products, and at that time, it was really seen as a political calculation that China would want to target President Trump's political base. Now, this time, the Chinese also imposed various business.
So that's why they're doing it. That's what Eunice is telling you. She's literally telling you the plan.
Restrictions on more than 25 companies. 10 of them were added to an unreliable entity list, so they're blacklisted. 15 added to export control list. A lot of these firms are for the most part in the defense industry, don't have a whole lot of business in China, if any at all, and had already been sanctioned by Beijing.
So that means they're just putting stuff out there, but it's not even relevant. So they don't want to be the focal of the trade war right now. I think they want to see how it goes for Mexico and Canada, and I don't blame them. I think that's the right move.
The one interesting company was among all of these was Illumina. This was the company that had been blacklisted in February after President Trump's February tariffs had kicked in. That company has now been banned from importing its gene sequencer machines, and China does account for 7% of Illumina's sales. That was the most high-profile corporate among the group, so it does give you a sense that we're seeing a lot of action, a lot of noise with these measures, but no household names.
So again, she's telling you they didn't do anything. She's so honest. I love her.
Eunice, our Commerce Secretary was on a few moments ago, really emphasizing the element about fentanyl.
Yeah, if you guys haven't read Art of the Deal, People ask me for book. Let's see, which way? This way. People ask me for book recommendations all the time. Here's one. The one this guy wrote. Read that fucking book. Don't even like complain about what's going on with his negotiation strategy if you don't even understand what he's doing. If you don't understand the game plan, just keep your mouth shut. But otherwise, read the book, listen to it, whatever you have to do.
And the Journal piece today reads, Chinese officials have said in recent weeks that U.S. tariffs make them less likely to help solve the fentanyl problem. Is that true?
Yeah, it's probably like a wolf warrior. Are they still doing that? It doesn't matter. They will cave. They have to. They have no choice.
For President Xi Jinping, he is not going to be like the Canadian or Mexican leaders, not going to be seen as somebody who would pick up the phone and try to work something out with
That's okay.
President Trump and be seen as kind of bending the knee to President Trump, to the Chinese public. So President Xi would probably go to Trump on his own terms. And that is really important for the Chinese leadership to make sure that
which is perfectly fine. We can let that happen. It's okay.
Their public knows that, or at least believes that, President Xi is in control.
Or maybe we help them understand that he is not. Maybe that's the objective.
Eunice, when it comes to some of these agricultural products, chicken, wheat, corn, cotton, 15% tariffs, are there other places the Chinese are going to be able to go to find those kinds of agricultural products at a lesser price? Do you know?
Cool. Awesome,
Yeah,
Scott.
definitely. They've been doing this. They've been diversifying since 2018. So they've been moving to looking at Brazil for the most part for, say, corn. They've been trying to reduce.
They're moving towards the other communist governments in South America. That makes sense. Here's the thing. This isn't going to work out good for you, China. You can capitulate now or you can do it later, and it's probably going to be later, and that's okay. We don't mind that at all. We have the winning hand. We know we have the winning hand. We're going to continue to use it. And people who don't like that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And if you don't understand why it's happening and you think Trump should be a little bit nicer, I don't give a shit. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's not a part of his tool set. And he's gonna run with what he's trying to accomplish. That's just, it is what it is, man. I hate it when people are like, oh, we shouldn't be doing it. We should be doing it this way. You need to realize what's going to happen. What you should be trying to figure out isn't your keyboard warrior, this is what we should do shit. And don't get me wrong, I type stuff like that every once in a while, but I'm at least smart enough to realize it probably doesn't matter. Some people, I don't think they're that smart, but none of that matters. We've got objectives. What are the objectives? Here's one of them. We want to be like Argentina. We want to be like El Salvador. And you know what else we're doing? And I don't even know if I have it posted here. It might be under the Trump section. Let me go to that real quick. But Argentina, we're willing to do free trade with them. Also, look at this real quick. So Ukraine should receive support. Also Europeans, not from my country. So most Europeans feel like it's not getting enough Western support, Ukraine. So they all agree. Ukraine needs more support. They or don't know. And then like enough or more than enough. Look at this way over here. So everybody agrees that they should get more support or they don't have an opinion. But they also feel this way. Increased levels of support. Sweden at 29%. Britain 21, Germany 21, Denmark 17, Spain 17, France 14, Italy 11%. None of these countries want to increase support, to be clear. They want to maintain levels for a lot of them. But they don't. A lot of them want to reduce. Look at this. Germany wants to reduce levels, 35%. That's probably the ADF influence. France is 30%. Did people realize that? There's a bunch of Trumpers in France. When I went there years ago, I was shocked, especially out in like vineyard lands. When we went to Moet, this champagne place, it was really cool. There were Trumpers everywhere. Again, it's not crazy different than here. And countries are different. But again, Germany, France, and Italy, they don't want to do more. They want to do less. And nobody wants to pay for this. And Trump just said that we're pulling ourselves out of it. Thoughts on Soul Strategies? You got me thinking, bro. I'm liking what you're saying here. I'm liking it. I want to see it get really punished today. I'd like to see it go lower. We'll talk about that. Remind me later. We should talk about that one. But also, so again, I want people to realize this. What power does Europe have? Did you know that the United States has 750 military bases outside of the U.S.? And that tons of these are in Central and Northern South America? So imagine how much control we have around the Panama Canal and parts of Central and South America. We don't have our bases yet in Greenland, Canada, or Mexico, but is that what we're trying to do? Do you think? And we've got massive influence across Europe and the Middle East and even this part of Africa over here. And then again, we're helping our Southeast Asian neighbors too, so that they don't get overrun by China. So we have a massive, like even Keir Starmer yesterday was saying that anything that happens needs to have U.S. approval. He said backing, but I think that's essentially what he means. But let's look at this real quick. We want to be like this, right? Bukele, hard on crime approach seems to have turned El Salvador around. I've got videos that show the two different types of military facilities they have. The ones where they try and teach you to be a productive member of society and literally teach you all day. You wake up, you eat, you either learn or you're a teacher. And you learn and teach and work and do all day. And it's not like torture. Again, part of it is sitting in a classroom and just learning about something or maybe teaching the class. But there's that, and they're rehabilitating citizens and they're giving them careers. Some of them are gardeners. Some of them, have you guys seen these videos? They're so fucking good. Some of them are plumbers. Some of them are like, and at the same time, they're also using them to clean up their cities and to build out things and build out infrastructure. It's like they're changing their country. And then the ones that were hardcore killer gangbangers, the MS-13, tattoos all over the face, multiple tears for, I killed so many fucking people, I don't even know how many. All those people, they're in prisons, in cells of like 50 fucking people. And the lights are on all the time. And they'll never leave. And they have no communication with the outside world, so they can't say, hey, kill this person, and run their gangs from inside the cell. And these two different approaches are drastically transforming their society for the better. Drastically. If you guys aren't paying attention to this, you need to start. But again, this is great. We're talking about literally, you met with Javier Milei at CPAC. He wants to sign a free trade agreement with the United States. Is that something you would consider doing with Argentina or any other country? I'll consider anything. In Argentina, I think he's great, by the way. I think he's a great leader. He's doing a great job. He's doing a fantastic job. This is Trump saying that he will sign a free trade deal with him. There will be countries that we work with where we do stuff like this for the betterment of ourselves and others. And so there'll be some where they get reciprocal tariffs and then they play nice and they work with us on free trade and they work with us on just doing smart things, and we will increase investment in those countries and we will work with them to make the world a better place. So I hope you realize what's coming. Real quickly.
Javier Milei at CPAC, he wants to sign a free...
Sorry, I'm going to kill that. We got Howard Lutnick down here talking. I want to see what he's saying. There's been a few videos that have been happening. Oh, wait a second. I need to go back here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Go up here. 1 second. I fucking hate their system, CNBC's. Pay for this stupid shit. All right, here we go. But it's better than getting struck. Let's see what Lutnick is having to say here. All right. I want to hear this. Bell in 1 minute? Okay. I'll let you guys... Should I let you guys hear the ding-ding? I'll let you guys hear the ding-ding, and then we can get to Lutnick. 1 second.
Our Commerce Secretary Lutnick on Squawk in the last hour talking about the tariffs. Of course, Jim, we already...
April 2nd, a trade reset. If you guys can survive 1 fucking month, you're good.
We have the biggest rise in manufacturing construction since the late 60s.
Right. I mean, look, and I know that...
Did you hear that?
They're really concentrated on don't worry about the short term, which is...
Yeah, fuck the bell. Nobody wants to see the pain anyway. That's a good point. Let's go back. I'm with you. We're not doing the bell today. All right, we're going to listen to Howard Lutnick. This is going to be important. This is the game plan. They're telling it to us, man. They don't hide much. Here we go.
This is not a trade war. We are going to reset trade policy on April 2nd. You've got China's got huge...
Actually, there's probably a full video of this, and this is just a clip. I want to hear it. I also want to show you guys Joe Lonsdale. He had a great interview. He had a great interview today. It was badass. So I want to show you that too. But yeah, let's see if we can get the full of Lutnick. 8 minutes, 36 seconds. We're going to watch this. This is important stuff. This is shaping the market stuff. This is where we zoom out and go big picture. Nundatin says, Bukele is a modern-day Lee Kuan Yew. Now I want to see him fuck around and find out the IMF for making dumb comments about his BTC. Me too. And I think the U.S. will back him up easy.
Tariffs are in effect today against Canada, Mexico, and China. Mexico's president speaking right now. She says they are responding with tariff and non-tariff measures that will be announced Sunday. She said it's not their plan to start a trade confrontation. But joining us now, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
Ours.
About time you're back on here, Mr. Secretary. We hoped you get that. No, we didn't. But you were on quite a bit before it all became official. But hopefully this is the beginning of a lot of appearances, and you can come in studio as well. It's good to see you.
Great to see you.
I think of Cantor as more bond than stocks. If we were going to measure what's happening so far in the bond market, things are going swimmingly with the 10-year. I'm not so sure about the stock market at this point. How much do you expect as far as a reaction to some of this stuff? And what is the president's and your tolerance for a dislocation, if you will, in the stock market?
Well, remember, the current tariff policy is a drug-related policy. There's opioids pouring into this country. They're killing about 75,000 autopsies.
He can say that all he wants, and it doesn't have to be true. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is an objective of the president to help with crime and drug use, but that is not the primary reason for this.
Americans a year. So imagine if you lost or I lost one of my children, would the first thing I do is worry about an autopsy? So the president thinks there's multiples of that, people who've died, and there is no price for American death. So his view is we've got to protect American lives, and that's what these tariffs are about. So let's differentiate between today's tariffs, which are about saving Americans' lives. China makes the opioid products, and then Mexico and Canada feed them into America, and that's got to end. They've done a nice job on the border, but they haven't stopped the flow of fentanyl. And then if you want to talk about trade policy, that starts April 2nd, and that's a very, very clear reset that these countries have used us and abused us, and that is going to change. But that starts April 2nd, so let's keep the two separate, and I'm happy to talk about either way.
Right. Nice. I know fentanyl's bad, but it just sounds, when you talk about Canada, it sounds like an excuse, or at least people think it's an excuse. However, 43 pounds came across the Canadian border last year versus 21,148 pounds across from Mexico. So is it really fentanyl? I mean, I can give you, and you can confirm whether this is true. Is milk still 270%, cheese 249%,
yes.
butter? Are all those still poultry 238, egg? I mean, it's across the board. These are peanut butter. All this from Canada, 295%. Why use fentanyl that would mean that you could take the tariffs off if they did something with fentanyl and make no progress on all the tariffs or on all the tariffs that are coming from Canada down here.
Remember, the process in America for tariffs is that the president launched a study, and those are the rules of tariffs in America, and that study is finished on April 2nd. So on April 2nd, the president will have all the tools in his arsenal that he wants to do to reset tariffs. So he will be addressing all of those products in Canada. The fact that, Canada has a national sales tax, another way to say it is a national tariff on our products. And we sell, they import from us very little, and we export, and they export to us huge amounts. So the idea is that's going to be reset, but that starts April 2nd. Now we just, people say, oh, it's only a small amount of opioids. They're only killing 75,000 Americans. You shouldn't worry about that. I mean, the president is not going to take that laying down, okay? He's not. These things just have to end. And we need to see material reduction in autopsy deaths from opioid. And that's what the president is talking about. This is not a trade war. We are going to reset trade policy on April 2nd. You've got China's got huge tariffs on us, huge tariffs on everything with us. And Canada, you just talked about. Why do we
are going to see max pressure in the next month or two, guys. It's going to be insane. It's just like the game plan I talked about earlier. It's all coming now, and then it can only get better. Tariffs can get lightened up. Deals can be closed. That's when the positive news starts coming in. There might be some negative economic data, but again, it will all turn around.
produce cars in Canada. They've had an invitation, Canada and Mexico had an invitation to trade with the amazing economy of the United States of America, and they have abused that invitation, and the president's going to reset that, but that's April 2nd. That's not today. Today's opioids, April 2nd, I'll be here talking to you about how trade policy is going to change.
He's like, guys, we haven't even begun to reset you yet.
And we're going to make it fair to Americans. I know people worry about short term, but we are going to bring jobs. You are never going to see the amount of production come back to America that Donald Trump's going to bring back to America.
That's 100% true.
Trillions and trillions of dollars of production is going to come back to America, creating great jobs in America. And that's why the Americans elected Donald Trump, and he's going to deliver for them.
Secretary Letnick, let's just focus on the ones for today that you're talking about, the ones that you say are related just to fentanyl, just because I guess we have a little more time to consider the others. Today, Brian Cornell told us earlier this morning on the show that shoppers at Target could very well see increases in the prices that they're paying for things like produce and vegetables. Because of the time of year, right now we rely on a lot of those imports coming in from Mexico. So if that goes up by 25% today, by the end of this week or early next week, shoppers at Target and other stores could see the increase immediately. On Best Buy, the conference call today, the CEO also said that those prices could go in fairly quickly. Price increases could go in fairly quickly if these 25% tariffs kick in today. What does Canada need to do? What does Mexico need to do? They were able to push off these tariffs the last time around in the 11th hour. Is that?
I love that these 25% tariffs are just an opening salvo. It's like it's gonna be fucking crazy.
Possible to happen today? Is there anything they could do for the administration to say, okay, we won't put these tariffs on today, or at least we'll push it off and see what else happens?
Well, of course, if they can stop the flow of fentanyl and they can prove to the president they can stop the flow of fentanyl, then of course the president can remove these tariffs. But you've seen it. It has not been a statistically relevant reduction of deaths in America. It's just black and white. And we told them it was outcome-based. That I understand that Canada says, oh, it's only a small amount of fentanyl. You know, it can only kill 9 million Americans. It's not that much. Whereas, you know, the flow of fentanyl from Mexico could kill everybody in America. I mean, you got to be kidding me. It's got to stop, and it's got to stop really right away. And China's got to stop producing it. So I understand that there are threats. Hopefully Mexico will understand that this is not a trade war. Right? This is a drug war. Hopefully they understand that. We keep saying it again and again and again. On April 2nd, we're going to have lots and lots of discussion.
You guys just reminded me I didn't buy back. Remember when I tried to sell some of one thing and I was going to buy more of the other? I didn't, in one of my accounts, Robinhood, it didn't let me sell out of the MSTR or whatever that I had and then put the money into something else. So I just did that today. So I got MSTU. Stupid cheap for $120,000 worth. So that was fun. Thank you.
On how to reset trade correctly. But that's April 2nd. I'm happy to talk about it now. But, you know, we expect, for example, on April 2nd, we want car manufacturing to come back to Michigan, to come back to Ohio. NAFTA gutted Michigan and gutted Ohio. And on April 2nd, in that time, we're going to try to start bringing cars back. We're going to bring back those great jobs. We're going to bring back production of enormous amounts of things and make America a manufacturing center again. So, yes, there's going to be, as the president said on the campaign trail, there may well be short-term price movements, but in the long term, it's going to be completely different. This is going to be the greatest America. We'll have a balanced budget. A balanced budget. Interest rates will come smashing down. And I mean 100 basis points, 150 basis points lower. You're going to have income taxes, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. This president is going to deliver all of those things and drive manufacturing here. And these things are important.
I haven't looked at TLT calls today to tell you what they're doing, so I'll have to look at that.
New U.S. tariffs.
Yeah, if anybody's in chat, you guys have them. So tell me what you got. What's it doing? Real quickly, I do want to find this video from Joe. I want to get something to drink super fast. We do have some economic data at 8:45, just in 5 minutes. But I want to find Joe Lonsdale because it was a great video. It was a great video that I want you to hear. So let me see here. Joey, where you at, Joey? Joey, where you at, Joey? Joey, where you at, Joey? Did they put him on here? The fuck, guys? Maybe it's up here. Latest news. They better put him on here. Why would you have Joe on? Oh, there he is. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to get I'm going to get some coffee real quick, and then again in 5 minutes,
President Trump announcing a strategic...
4 minutes, we'll look at the rest over here. What time? I want to make sure I got the right one. An hour ago. Yes, this is a good one. You guys let me know if there's anything key that I'm missing here, okay? While I get my coffee. Be right back.
Crypto reserve. Our next guest is pro-crypto, but not in favor of this policy, posting on X. It is wrong to steal my money for grift on the left. It's also wrong to take me for crypto bro schemes. Joining us now in an exclusive interview is Palantir co-founder and 8VC founding partner Joe Lonsdale. You love crypto. Why are you not a crypto bro? You're distinguishing yourself from other crypto bros.
I gotta be careful what I put out online.
Yeah.
You know. And I listen. I think there's a lot of great people in this administration that are 100% right that the Biden administration was ridiculous against crypto. Right. I think Gensler, the SEC, was totally arbitrary. They wouldn't say what the rules were, and so this administration is correct to support it, put in clear rules, make it easy for everyone to have crypto. I personally don't think the government should be picking winners and losers. I don't think you should be putting up online certain coins that are all of a sudden going to shoot up 25% and people could trade that and stuff. To me, that's not the right way to do it.
You see a lot of the moves that the Trump administration is making, and actually we were just talking about that previous interview, and you brought it up when you sat down as well. And we can talk about USAID if you want. They're gone, so they can't defend what their points were. But it seems to me that maybe part of the weakness in Bitcoin is that every move that the administration makes to try to stem the printing of fiat is a negative for Bitcoin. I mean, if you do,
it's true.
Isn't it true?
If you have a really sound dollar, then you don't need the anti-fiat thing nearly as much, and then in the short term.
If you got Doge and you got trying to cut the deficit and everything else, those are all negatives for printing more money, which is what makes.
That's the positive interpretation for sure. I still think we're dealing with some inflationary forces in this economy, and there's still other complications that could hit the market and that could do risk off. So there's both here. But listen, I mean, you just had these guys on discussing this USAID stuff, which I thought they were absolutely ridiculous. I think he cited 0.3% of it was fraud. We've seen hundreds of millions that are wasted.
A recent cut from Elon caused the death of an individual in Texas from measles. I mean,
that had nothing to do with it. I mean, the thing that we're seeing is there's these entrepreneurs like George Soros and others in the policy world. It's a very kind of sketchy type of entrepreneurship where they put a little bit of money up, they create a very political org such as Internews, and then they get hundreds of millions or billions of dollars from the government towards their political scheme, and then their political scheme goes around doing extraordinary.
How much of USAID is what percentage is things like that, though? Is it on the margin?
We found billions and billions of dollars at least, and you know what we've learned about these NGO schemes. I come from San Francisco originally, so I know this. Is you always hide them in the things that sound the best, and then you attack everyone. How could you question homelessness? We all want to help the homeless. And by the way, there's huge amounts of fraud in there. How could you question helping people who are poor in Africa? So that's where they hide the nonsense.
Well, I was going to say what they answered when I asked just about some of the programs that some people have raised questions about. Said this doesn't sound like it makes any sense. They said, look, you have to reach some of these populations if you really want to get at the root problems of it. they will say it's the only way to go after health on some of these issues, and that their complaint was this was done by AI, done by a hatchet, not necessarily done in a thoughtful manner. What's the response?
There's a couple things here. First of all, I do think the people in the Bush administration did save a lot of lives in Africa, doing some great things. Now, it's one thing to put things in place to show people how to save lives. It's another thing, 20 years later, there's clinics in South Africa. What is South Africa spending their money on? They're giving money to the party of Julius Malema, who's calling to kill white people. He gets millions of dollars a year from this government. They're doing lawsuits against Israel.
Literally genocide.
South Africa's spending money on.
Genocide.
Let's take less of our money we give to them, force them to fund their own clinics now. We've shown them how to do it. There's no reason we should be funding a country that's wasting money on those crazy things.
I love Joe. He's one of the great American patriots, man. This guy really wants to make this country great.
I think that comes in and steps over because Dr. Atul Gawande was saying he thinks we're going to be looking at thousands of deaths a year later. You think what happens is maybe more like what we're seeing with Europe today, talking about how they're going to spend more on defense?
I think you need to force them to pick up some of these things and do it themselves. And at some point, it's their responsibility. And at some point, it's sad if they're not going to do it. But we've shown them how to do it, and it's their country. And I
played videos for you guys a few weeks ago where straight up we had African people saying, "Don't send us money. All it does is go to our corrupt fucking governments who steal everything. We don't see shit." And so why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? Why are we giving money to a bunch of fucking drug lords and assholes that are just suppressing their fucking people anyway? And it never makes it to them. Why are we doing that? There's no fucking point. They need to figure it out. We can help in ways that are beneficial to us and that prevent disease and everything else, but we need to figure shit out. Put-call ratio has just reached 1.
We have people in our country who are suffering,
and
we need to use our money for our things at some point.
I think we glossed over the why don't you like the reserve for Bitcoin? I don't think Pompliano.
I think there are some arguments to do a just Bitcoin reserve. I think choosing other winners in the space. I think he listed off a few different winners. I'm actually long some of those currencies. It's probably good for me if they do it from a financial perspective. I don't think that's the proper role of government to pick winners and losers. We got to be very careful. This administration is very properly cutting hundreds of billions of grift and waste. Like, we're finding out that these far-left Democrats are basically a party of just stealing free money. Our side should not be doing things that are feeding money towards our side and our friends. We should be doing things based on the role of government.
Yeah, taxpayer is a hell of a thing. If you're looking at, just think of $1 billion. If you break that down.
Thanks, Anthony.
That's a lot of money.
Right, and then you get to hundreds of billions where there's no really cap
BTC's bouncing
on the ability to tax.
Stacey Abrams, $2 billion to her right before Biden leaves office. She gives it to a bunch of her groups, right? It's like $7 billion to this like crazy environmental group, which is all California Democrats. This is just scams. Like, we're finding all these scams. We're turning them off. And let's not do anything on our side. Listen, if you want to use money to get them to turn off NGOs in general, to do an honorable principled use of like an anti-communist NGO, we can debate about that, but I don't think it should be going towards winners and losers.
Hell yeah.
What happened on Friday? How do you view that?
Which area?
Zelensky.
Oh, listen, I thought all around it.
Did you guys, so real quickly, I hate to interrupt this, did you guys hear that that the Department of Defense had a bunch of credit cards being used where they were like going to the fucking casino and drinking and eating and just partying all the time, that a bunch of people were using their credit cards and gambling with the U.S. government's money, our fucking money. This is the kind of stuff that was going on at the DOD.
It was kind of really unfortunate. Zelensky needed to be prepped on what J.D. Vance and Trump believe. I think our vice president and president have a certain view of the world. I respect a lot of how they see the world.
He was prepped. That's the bad part.
He came in, he disrespected them, and he was used to getting his way, that he came in so arrogantly that it didn't work out. And
you got to realize he's a part of Palantir and that whole team, right? So like, they've been helping out in Ukraine. So him saying this is pretty profound.
Unfortunate.
Defense spending is too high, too low, misspent.
I can't even trade an ally. What a piece of shit.
I was making the point that when you're building things that you wish you'd never had to use, and then you use them, and you need to build more of them, and you're using them to kill people on both sides where the line of demarcation hasn't even moved in the last 2 years, it all sounds awful. But
Yeah.
but we need to replenish everything that we've sent.
We need to buy things in defense through competition. We need to buy things over longer periods of time so you can build the factories.
Is there grift
build them
there, too?
efficiently. Of course, there's massive cronyism. This is the whole reason we're building. Obviously Palantir and SpaceX kind of broke through, and then Anduril and Saronic and others and Epirus are now breaking through. And they're much, much better than what's there. But we need to make sure that the better technologies can win and that you have the buying signal over a longer period of time from defense so we can do these things efficiently. I think these guys coming in to run defense are very good, and I think we are going to fix a lot of that waste.
Nice.
As a Palantir co-founder, what do you think of the stock down 20% over the last month?
I got my shares at about 0.7 cents, and so I'm really happy with where it is now. I think
72% over 6 months.
I think it's been very. Listen, I love it. I think it was very underappreciated for many, many years, and it's really nice to be appreciated now. And I think it's when it's extremely popular, it's hard to say what it should be worth. Yeah.
I love Joe.
You're closing on your how many? 6th core fund.
APC 6 just closed, officially announcing it's we did a $998 million cap, and it's our biggest one. I'd like to keep it under $1 billion, but this is the most exciting time to be investing right now. There's the stuff you mentioned in defense.
He just closed his 6th fund. Joe is such a rock star. He is a Warren Buffett.
AI services is a huge area. It's going to add productivity to our economy. This is a really cool time to be in venture capital in America.
All right, I have more to ask you about. Is there anything to the notion that Trump is setting up not closer relations with Russia, but to somehow offset or drive a wedge between Russia and China at this point?
I think that'll be very smart, by the way. I think China. I think the CCP, unfortunately, is clearly our largest geopolitical rival. I think it's very scary how they operate. They've murdered friends of mine internally who are Chinese. They've done a lot of terrible things. I think Bill Clinton was very smart to engage with Russia. I have no, Putin is not, in my mind, a good person, but it doesn't mean strategically you shouldn't try to engage and you shouldn't.
He's a horrible person.
Separate those two rivals.
That does get conflated a lot. That trying to end the war or trying to just talk to Putin, somehow you're forgiving him for all the atrocities that we all know.
There's a lot of bad guys in the world, and we should understand them and know them and engage in order to get the best results.
Some bad guys have. How many nukes does he have? He's got at least 1,000, does he not? That's just a fact of life.
Shouldn't let him bully us with that, but at the same time, you got to be reasonable.
Yeah, you got to know that. I don't know what the end game is for Ukraine at this point. Anyway, Joe, thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right,
thank you.
Great to see you.
I love me some Joe Lonsdale, man. The dude is a stud. He really gets it. Let's see here. If it wasn't for Starlink, wouldn't the Ukraine people have trouble? Dude, they would have lost the war without Starlink. Russia had used jamming techniques and basically blown up all their infrastructure for communicating, all their traditional infrastructure. If Starlink didn't give them emergency satellites, they would have just died very quickly. But how soon we forget, right? We don't care about that. We don't care about the weapons the United States provided. We don't care about the support that we provided. We don't care about Starlink and what it provided and what Palantir provided. None of those things matter. We're just the bad guys now. So you can listen to that noise if you want to. I'm not going to. You want to look at Orly? Since you got a $10 tip there, I'll go ahead and do it because I'd feel bad if I didn't. I don't know what it is, though, so I'll just look real quickly at the stock. And when I look at this, I usually look at the finance part, too. Some people don't like it when I do that. But it's an auto parts store, so this is not an asymmetric bet to me. Its growth is revenue growth year over year, and profit growth are less than 10%, so 7 and 3%. It's going up. If we look here historically, it continues to go up, so it looks like they're pretty good at what they do. I do worry long-term about what a parts store looks like when everything is a Tesla, and you have just much, much, much lower costs and just traffic from all these vehicles. But again, maybe that picks up before it gets worse. They've been buying back their shares a ton. What is their PE ratio? Their forward PE is 31. It's not really cheap. Their activity, institutional ownership is in decline. Short interest is pretty much non-existent, and there's been more sellers than buyers of their stock. Their estimates are going up slightly. So this is so not growth, and if anything, it's richly valued at a 31 forward PE, in my opinion. So I can look it up over here. Nope, I don't have it. 1 sec, let me just make a copy. And then we'll move on to other stuff. If you guys have more questions, let me know. ORLY. Jeez. Oh, no, that's Tesla. Look at that. Look at that Tesla. I wonder if the options are getting better now. Glad I got out of them. Yeah, so this thing's done really well, and I would almost argue that this is parabolic since 2020 when it was at 259, and now it's at 1375, and was a little bit higher. Even more recently, or it's moved a shit ton just from 951 to almost 1400 just since June of 2024. I don't know. This thing isn't cheap. If they start missing earnings, it's going to get weird. So that's my take on that one. I think it's pretty barely valued, if not overvalued. The stock buybacks are helping. All right, let me look here. Put call ratio. Somebody said something about that. I think I pulled that up too. Let me just find it real quick here. Oh, that's not the one I want. Let me find this. I did. Oh, it's over here. Let's see. Put call. Ah, there we go. All right, let me pull this over. We have a bunch of metrics like this. If you guys are ever curious, I've got all this stuff, okay? So I actually showed as of the last time this was updated, I don't know what the instant update is, but as of March 3rd, Monday, the put-call ratio was actually 0.88, and it was even lower on last Friday is when it hit its low, where the put-call ratio was at 0.78. So we've been in some interesting times here. It looks like it was really low a little bit ago, and maybe we're bouncing. Maybe people are starting to think this is over. And again, that AAII investor sentiment survey too, showing the levels of bearishness in blue. Again, it's way down here. If we go out, let's see what we have for the long term. Is this all? Yeah, that's all. So going all the way back, all we have is 2017 for this. It looks like from here. But again, if you look at these troughs in September of 2022, that was right near the bottom. Now we might be starting one of those maybe right now. That's possible. It actually got down to 61%. But again, I don't know. I think this is definitely indicative that some point in the next 6 months or 3 months that we're going to be popping out. Because again, outside of what happened in late 2022, these are like the lowest of low levels. There's nothing that compares except for these three little blips right down here. So that's interesting too. Let me check chat. What are you guys saying? Starlink still provides. Jesse, you said remind Soul Strategies next. Yeah, let's look at it. So Soul Strategy is super beat up. Not crazy, but I mean, it is down 60%. So this, from what it was recently, could it go down further? Sure. But boy, by the time you get down to like $1.32 or the low one range, there is a ton of support at like 112. By the time you get down here, that would be a 73% drop. So I do think Soul Strategies is an interesting diversification play. I think they're like MicroStrategy, but they're doing that same technique with Solana. And then they can also, again, invest this and get earned interest income too. I think this is a really interesting strategy for propping up what their financials look like. And I don't know if this is in here, but let me just check real quick. CYFRF. And I don't know if I have this one. Do I have this shared out, this chart? I should put this in the Discord. If somebody's on here from the Discord side, let me share this real quick and make a copy. And if you guys could add this to the Discord and a channel. Let me put down what it is. Soul Strategies. All right, so there's that. What was I going to look at? Oh, yeah, the financials. Over here, if we have them. Oh, we do. Cypherpunk Holdings. I love the name. I never knew it was that. So we can see what happened with their revenue growth, right, from this new strategy. Q3 of 2024 went from nothing to one of the highest years or quarters of revenue that they've ever had. Now, again, their income statement was looking a little low, probably from some of these drops, but and their SG&A went up a lot, but it must just be the way that it's categorized. But these guys, their Bitcoin holdings, I don't know if we have that in the key chart section. Looks like we don't. I'll have to see if Alejandro can add that. But let's see what sentiment looks like. Let's check out some of these stats. But I think this is a good opportunity to make some money, especially if we just continue to get crushed. And I'm not in it yet, so I haven't felt that 60% downside pain. I do not know of options for this. Oh, I can't pull it up. I don't know of options for this. So if you guys, I don't think there are. Or if there are, maybe it's in a different country. But let me see here real quick. There's no activity. Sentiment, I just can't get to. It just won't pull it up. Namdatan, a man used to being celebrated as a hero and then shaming his counterparts for giving too little. Yeah, I think there's a lot of that with Zelensky, right? Like I think he was on Vogue magazine. He's been praised all across Europe. He's been called, the next Winston Churchill. He's been told that he's in this long fight to win it. And he's willing to let as many people die as humanly possible because he does not care. He's beyond that point. He's at this point of like, I just need to keep going. In his head, he's waiting for victory. And I don't know that that's a good thing at all at this point. Not after 3 years. Here's a bunch of Ukrainians getting their asses beat. This is Ukraine, guys. These are Ukrainians that are getting beat because they were trying to get out of the country so that they don't get slaughtered. Now they're going to be pushed out to the forces and die and get blown apart. And I can show you videos of them getting blown apart. It's just endless. But this is how we treat Ukrainian people. This is how we treat them. And you won't see any community note saying that this is a Russian or anything like that because they're not. But this is how we treat them right there. This is what Zelensky is about now. And I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a good thing at all. Here's another one. Can you imagine being this poor motherfucker? He has a suit on. He was probably trying to go to work. I have a child home alone. He has a child home alone. A fucking kid. If that's true, can you imagine this? Is this how you treat your own fucking people? Yeah, we had a drafts process. We had a lottery where you had like a pretty low percentage chance of going to a war in like Vietnam or some of these other times, right? And again, World War II and World War I, people were patriotic and they were looking to go to war to serve their country. Vietnam, maybe not so much. But we didn't have this. We didn't abduct people off the fucking street with their kids at home. And we had a process, a court system where people literally could dispute their draft notice and stay. That's how a lot of shitty politicians and rich people got to avoid it. But we didn't do this. We didn't take people who have their fucking kids at home. And these are the graves in Ukraine. Look at this. This is Kharkiv. That's Kharkiv. They're graves everywhere. It's just one huge fucking graveyard. And this isn't enough. This isn't enough in a war where the lines have not moved in 2 fucking years, really. I mean, they went back and forth, but they really haven't moved. This isn't enough dead people. We need at least 40 to 45,000 Ukrainians dying a month, like that guy who's trying to get back to his fucking kid. And here, oh, hey, you know what? You want to talk about people conspiring? Was this George Bush Jr. conspiring with Vladimir Putin?
My favorite spots on the ranch.
Literally taking Vladimir Putin on his ranch, riding around. Bill Clinton hung out with them. All these people hung out with them. They weren't Russian agents.
Which are most of it. Notice that it's raining. Excuse me? It's raining. Have you noticed? The president brought rain, for which we're always grateful in the state of Texas.
Is it great to be back at the ranch?
I'm thrilled to be here. There is no better gift.
That look is the look of a madman. I literally think Vladimir Putin is sadistic, but I also think he's calculated and knows when he's winning and losing, and he's not doing well either. But again, this war has to end, and to use double standards like oh, Trump is a Russian asset, or all these people that want to end the war are Russian assets. It's just really hypocritical. Rest in peace, Gonzalo Lira. Yeah, right. Jeff L., he stopped election because of war, and when the war ends, he's scared shitless of it. He's very scared shitless of it, because if you think about it, he's going to be accountable to the families that lost their loved ones. They're going to want his fucking head. I do think that if we have him step down for an election, we need to allow safe passage to another country. There's a bunch of Europeans that think that he's God's gift to the world. One of them can take him. But I do think we're going to have to guarantee something like that, because I think there are going to be people that want to slaughter him for what he's done. I do think yeah, because again, we know Putin is the bad guy, but Zelensky is too. evidently. Trudeau to hold presser at 9:30. That should be fun. I probably won't be around for that. So today's a big day. My parents are having their 50th anniversary. I want to get some stuff for them and hang out with them. I've got my nephew's son here, a little baby. He's adorable. He's huge. He's just big as shit. He's like wears 2-year-old clothes. He's 6 months old. And so we're going to hang out with him. And then tomorrow is my daughter's birthday. So I don't even know if I'm going to do a video tomorrow. If I do, it's going to be super short. Actually, I might not even do one because we're going to surprise her. She's going to be off school tomorrow and we're going to do a bunch of stuff. So I might not be around tomorrow. And then Thursday, I don't know if I have to pick up this Model Y that I bought for my mother-in-law. I can't tell. They sent me a communication saying they were going to bring it to me, but now all the delivery notification stuff says I'm picking it up. So I got to figure that out. But yeah, so I'm going to be really busy over the next several days here. Just so you guys know, I might be driving Thursday. I'll let you know. And then again, my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so I might not do a video, but I will be around Friday for sure. And then hopefully Thursday morning before we head out. So I might just miss one day. But, and again, I've got to get my portfolio updated. I'll work on that, hopefully here. I'm going to try and get it out today. But I love you guys. I'm probably going to end it here. I hope that people realize that we've got a plan. It might not be comfortable over the short term, but it's a plan and it's a good one. And we will win in the end. So I want you guys to understand that. And today isn't even that bad, which is insane. We got all these retaliatory tariffs with Mexico, China, and Canada, just talked about since last night, and I don't know. I think we're doing a pretty good job flushing out, and I'm kind of excited about it. And I'm really excited about what's coming. I'll probably try and make more standalone videos that talk to it, because you should get stoked about it. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, I love you guys. Take it easy. I will see you probably Thursday. Peace out.